Hello, everyone. I am Shelly Dressel. I channel the universal light beings amongst other high vibrational energies. And this past Wednesday, when I was doing the channel with all three of them, someone asked a question about working with your shadow self. And Brysentia mentioned it, Albayan, and Crystalia. And I found as I put together everything that they were saying that this is just kind of a fascinating piece to our puzzle. So I wanted the puzzle of ascension. So I wanted Brysentia to come through and talk a little bit more about it, and let's see what she has to say. Greetings. It is I, Brysentia. The topic this evening is about your shadow self. This is something that many of you that have been on this ascension path have heard about for a very, very long time. So it's not something new, but there are so many people that are awakening at this time. It may be new to those that have not yet that are either starting on their journey or maybe they're pretty far along their journey and there's something that's just not quite clicking yet. So when the question that they asked during it was how impactful is your shadow self and what's the best way to work with it, I believe, or something like that. And let me just begin by defining. Frequently, when you hear us talking about things, we can talk about for example, in manifesting things. There are You may have stuff that's going on in your unconsciousness that is keeping you from manifesting what you want through your conscious everyday life. That unconsciousness is your shadow self. It's that there's the part of you that you're bright, you're awake, you're aware, you're talking, you're communicating. This is you that you show to the world. And so that if you think of it as here's one side of the teeter-totter, and then the other side of the teeter-totter is your unconsciousness. And it is through that unconsciousness that you brought forward things that you perhaps need to heal from other lifetimes. Perhaps there was trauma when you were younger. Perhaps there are things that are in the collective consciousness that are a trigger to you. So the unconsciousness is created before you even come into this lifetime because there are certain things that are put in there as, what do you call them, like markers as you move through your life. Have you had that experience where you either complete something or an experience happens to you and you have that feeling of, oh my goodness, what's going on here? It could be that what is happening to you is you've just checked off that box and you have resolved something that was in your unconsciousness. It could also be that that's coming to your awareness to say, hey, pay attention to this. This is something that you need to work on. So your unconsciousness is a very big part of the ascension process because people need to find a way to recognize that there are certain perhaps ways that they feel about things that they don't really want to acknowledge to themselves. Most often the unconsciousness is given kind of like a negative connotation. So those negative feelings that you may have about yourself or about other people or a situation. It may be that you've been seeking to manifest over and over and over again, and something keeps it from happening. Chances are it's in your unconsciousness that is keeping you from manifesting what you seek to have. It is through that unconsciousness that many of these solar flares are coming in and that they're activating things in people, especially those that have not yet totally awakened to the ascension process that's going on and the new vibration and frequency. So let's see. I had in mind a few things that I wanted to talk about, and I'm trying to remember them all. But let me just go back to the channel the other day. So I was speaking about the shadow self in each one of you personally. Then, as El Bayan talked about it, he was the one that actually put forth, like, Shelly lives in the United States, which you know what that they have been kind of like the forefront for all of these changes taking place. And there's a massive divide going through the country where people that we're just going to call this is not about politics. However, when you think about it from politics, it makes sense. Those that are the Democrats and those that are the Republicans. Now, there are, I don't think there's very many, but there could be Democrats that are on this side and Republicans that are on that side. But what we're talking about here is those people that have not yet awakened, those people that want to stick to the past and stick to the things they know, or for those that are corrupted that want to keep that corruption going, and they don't want it exposed or brought out to the light. In other words, unconscious things brought to the light. And so that's where El Bayan was talking about it. And it occurred to me as he was saying that you have the shadow work personally, you have the shadow work nationally. And then taking it a step further, there's the shadow work that's going on globally. There are those people that are awake and aware and know exactly what you've been moving through. And then there are those that are just beginning to awaken, or those that have that tunnel vision and they don't want to look at something new. They don't want to try something different. They want to stay with what they know because they know it. And then as Shelly was talking to Alexander afterwards, thinking this is just an amazing correlation, he says, well, we can also look at it universally, because of the changes that are going on in the universe are also being reflected by what is happening here. So when we've talked for so long about the fact that the entire planet is ascending. And what does that mean? That means that the level of consciousness keeps rising, and it's rising to a degree that everybody's going to be living and vibrating and experiencing life through a higher, lighter frequency. Now, hooked into the unconsciousness of each of you as people is also the collective consciousness. Back when we started doing these channels, or especially back when you look at the 80s, 90s, 2000s, the collective consciousness of your planet was very low and very dense, because there was a huge amount of negativity that was going on. There was control, manipulation. People were in fear. And all of that is what lowers the vibration. So the collective consciousness was feeding into people's unconsciousness to keep them into that space. Well, fast forward to where we are now, and all of the massive amount of work that you, the humans, have done in order to arrive in this place where you are right now. So as each of you are working on your own self to clear out things that are hidden, to clear out what is no longer resonating with you, it is also working on the collective consciousness. Now, sometimes we also just work directly with the collective consciousness. So there's a two-way street there. What's happening in the collective is affecting you in the person, and vice versa. So another thing to consider with this is, as you're watching things, or maybe people that are relationships around you, what happens to you when something triggers you? For example, there's something that you see here and you just get instantly tense, you get instantly angry. You would consider that a trigger. So what in that triggered you? Because chances are it's in your unconsciousness, and it's something that you need to heal, clear, release, whatever you want to consider it, so that you can then be in a much more balanced place, or a place that's much more prosperous, whatever it is that you are seeking to manifest. So the shadow self cannot be ignored. It is something that must take place, that the healing or the transitioning of your shadow self. Oh, mirror work. People frequently talk about the mirror work, as if you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at yourself. And that's another way of working with this. So there are different words that mean the same thing, but until you can get to that place where you're really in a balanced state, and your energy is really there supporting you, and you're manifesting that which really resonates with you, then you have to go through and do the work on healing yourself. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there so that each of you can recognize that you may be nudged along by things that are happening in your country, or on the planet, or even in the universe. And with the universe, sometimes it's those solar flares that are coming in that are having an impact upon it. We have spoken many, many times about people that you still think are not awake as yet, that we're working on their unconsciousness so that something will trigger for them, and suddenly they'll be aware and look around and say, oh my goodness, this is really what the truth is, whatever it is that may come up. So again, that's another way in which the universe is working in with people's unconsciousness and shadow self. So just wanted to put this out there. If you're interested, we'll put a link below to that full channel from Wednesday. That today is May 23rd, and so that was May 21st, just a couple of days ago. But thanks for tuning in, and good luck as you're doing this healing work on yourself. For some people, it can be very traumatic. For other people, it can be, oh my gosh, I finally understand now. And then you can transition pretty quickly. So everyone is unique. And therefore, the healing work that you do on yourself is unique. But be bold, be strong, because you've got this. Thank you very much. Ansaluia.